Hey guys, this is Robert with Liability Law. We help entrepreneurs just like you start their businesses without dealing with complicated legal forms. We're also the #1 highest rated business law firm for entrepreneurs with more than 1,500 5-star Google reviews. As a business lawyer who helps entrepreneurs, I understand that you are probably wondering whether you should form an LLC, C corporation, S corporation, partnership, or some other various business entity. In this video, I will explain what both an LLC is and what a corporation is, and I will explain the advantages and disadvantages of both. So let's start with an LLC. An LLC is a limited liability company that essentially combines the liability protection of a corporation with the tax treatment and ease of a partnership. In an LLC, the owners are called members, whereas in a corporation, the owners are referred to as shareholders. But let me first explain to you what the main benefits of an LLC are. First, an LLC will provide you with limited liability protection. The owners are generally not personally responsible for business debts and liabilities. So this means that if the LLC incurs debt or is sued, then the members' assets will oftentimes be protected from these judgments. Keep in mind that an LLC has liability protections that are very similar to those of a corporation. However, you should also keep in mind that limited liability does not mean that you are protected from all actions that you engage in. A member of an LLC is not necessarily shielded from very wrongful acts. So another benefit of an LLC is that they can provide you with pass-through taxation. This means that LLCs are not taxed as a separate business entity. Instead, all profits and losses are passed through the business and go directly to each member of the LLC. So LLC members report profits and losses on their personal federal tax returns, just like the owners of a partnership. The last main benefit of an LLC is that they do not require as much annual paperwork and don't have as many legal formalities and complicated tax filings, unlike a corporation. So now I will go through some of the disadvantages of an LLC. The first main disadvantage is that they cost money, whereas a sole proprietorship has very little to no expenses at all. The second disadvantage is that an LLC owner will typically have a harder time transferring his ownership in the LLC because they can't simply just sell some of their shares. Keep in mind that unlike a corporation where you can easily sell shares in the business, with an LLC you don't have shares, so you will have to change the members listed on your operating agreement and follow various other procedures. But overall, an LLC is a great option for many entrepreneurs who are just getting started. So now let me explain to you what a corporation is and the advantages and disadvantages of registering as a corporation. A corporation is one of the most common business structures and is also an independent legal entity that is owned by the shareholders, similar to an LLC, but an LLC does not have shares. This means that the corporation, rather than the shareholders, are legally liable for the actions and debts that the business incurs. A corporation is a more complex form of business because they generally have more costly administrative fees and they have more complicated tax and legal structure requirements. Because of this, a corporation is generally suggested for larger and more established companies. However, this is not always the case, particularly if you're an international entrepreneur. So let me go through what I believe to be some of the main advantages and disadvantages of a corporation. The first main advantage is that similar to an LLC, a corporation provides the shareholders with limited liability. The shareholders are typically not personally responsible for business debts and liabilities. When it comes to taking responsibility for business debts and actions of a corporation, shareholders' personal assets will be harder to reach than if you simply were a sole proprietor. Shareholders can generally only be held accountable for their investment in the stock of the company. Second, corporations file taxes separately from their owners. Owners of a corporation only pay tax on corporate profits paid to them in the form of salaries, bonuses, and dividends, while any additional profits are awarded at a corporate tax rate, which is usually lower than a personal income tax rate. The third main benefit of a corporation is that it can practically have an unlimited number of shareholders, and the transfer of ownership is very easy and just requires that the owner sell his or her stock to a buyer. Another major benefit of a corporation is that investors prefer to work with corporations over LLCs. So if you plan on raising money from outside investors, it is generally recommended that you register as a corporation rather than an LLC. Now I will go through some of the disadvantages of a corporation. The first is related to time and money. Corporations are more expensive to form when compared to sole proprietorships, partnerships, and even LLCs. Corporations are also more time-consuming ventures to start because they require you to do more maintenance and keep it active and operating properly. Another major disadvantage to a corporation is that they generally have double taxation unless you are going with an S corporation, which is generally available only to U.S. residents. The double taxation means that the corporation will be taxed twice, first when the company makes a profit and again when dividends are paid to shareholders. Corporations also require additional paperwork to be filed, and they face ongoing state-imposed filing requirements and fees. This is because corporations are highly regulated by federal, state, and in some cases local agencies. There is an increased amount of paperwork and record keeping associated with a corporation. So with a corporation, you have to face and deal with ongoing formalities, and you will have to hold and document your annual meetings with the directors and shareholders and keep good records of this. Overall, a limited liability company is a standard for most small businesses and online businesses, and corporations are oftentimes great for larger businesses or international entrepreneurs who live in certain countries that have tax treaties with the US. So if you're an entrepreneur looking to register your business in the US and you are not sure whether you should go with a corporation or an LLC or a partnership, then click on the link below to schedule a free consultation with us. During the phone call, we will be able to determine what business structure is best for you, and we will hold your hand throughout the process. So go ahead and click the link below, and also if you have any questions, just post them in the comments below, and my team and I will try to get to them as soon as possible. See you guys in the next video.